What's up guys, I'm back with another review. This time it's the Four Seasons Los Cabos. Unfortunately, we do not have any cool intro shots because I have forgotten my drone. Actually, that's not true. I have my drone with me. I just did not have my controller. That's also not true. I actually have my controller with me. I just couldn't find it at the time. I never said I was smart. Nonetheless, let's just get into it. So we all know Cabo fairly well. It's been a popular location for people on the West Coast. Many of my Californian clients love to make the easy hop down to Cabo to enjoy the week. Plenty of fabulous resort options there because many resorts do not have a swimmable beach. Therefore, Cabo has always relied on the fact that most of the resorts have amazing pools and accommodations. So when both Four Seasons and Amman announced that they would be opening up in Cabo, I was extremely curious as to where it would be located. Given the fact that I love both brands, I was super excited. In terms of location, I was relieved to see that Four Seasons is actually opening up away from the typical resort location. They are located in the Baja Peninsula on the East Cape, and Amman happens to be building their resort just next door. That will be completed in 2022, maybe 2023. But in the meantime, I think Four Seasons is going to enjoy having the place all to itself. The resort on the East Cape is about 45 minutes away from the international airport in Cabo, so it's not a bad ride. Most resorts are probably between 20 to 30 minutes away from the airport, so this really isn't that much further. It's just in a different direction. One of the things I love about Four Seasons Los Cabos is that it actually has a swimmable beach with calm water and a white sand beach that's fairly wide as well. I think the only downside about that is the sand. While it's white, it's actually quite coarse. It does get very hot. It's not like the soft and powdery sand you find in Turks and Caicos. That's kind of cool to the touch. That being said, at least it does have a swimmable beach, which allows you to go out and do water activities and swim. You're not able to do that at many other resorts in Cabo, so that's certainly a plus for Four Seasons. And right off the bat, I would say the location is either a pro or con depending on the type of person and traveler you are. If you're someone like me who loves Amman, Four Seasons, and enjoy having seclusion and peace and quiet, you will love the East Cape and where Four Seasons is located, and actually think that they have a stunning setting. They actually have some mountains in the distance you can see from your room from the beach, and when the sunset hits it, it's just amazing. That's something I really enjoy about the location, and I think within the next few years, the location will actually be more commercialized, and then you'll have restaurants and etc. that you can venture out to in the evenings. But for the time being, if you're visiting Four Seasons Los Cabos, you're most likely going to have to stay on site and just enjoy the amenities within the resort, which I found it to be fantastic because that's all I want to do on vacation anyway. But for some people, I know they like to go to a resort, get dressed up in the evenings and go out, hit local bars, check out the scene, go shopping during the day. So if that's your preference, I would suggest you wait till the area is completely built out in the next 2 to 3 years before visiting. Because of its location, depending on the time you're visiting Four Seasons Los Cabos, it can actually get a bit windy at times. Four Seasons is actually building a man-made beach on the other side of the resort, so during those windy times, guests can actually move over to the man-made beach side and still enjoy a beach water without compromising with the wind. Upon arrival, one of the first things you'll notice about Four Seasons Los Cabos is that this awesome integration of kind of like rustic and also how manicured the resort is. Roads are not paved or anything, they're just kind of dirt roads, but at the same time they have palm trees and greeneries on both sides. You can tell obviously it's exceptionally manicured and it's just intentionally to be designed that way so you feel like you're out on the East Cape and kind of out in nature. And then the lobby will immediately impress you because the lobby is done in the super chic and sophisticated, like a contemporary way. Almost feels like a piece of artwork. When you walk into the lobby, it's completely wide open and you feel the breeze coming through. And then of course you're met with a beverage and a cold towel. The resort is fairly flat, which is something that I think will be great for families or people who are a bit older or have mobility issues. The staff will be more than happy to chauffeur you around in the golf cart if you wish. Love the ease of maneuvering on site. The resort is a bit spread out. It actually reminds me a bit of Four Seasons Hualalai in Kona, Hawaii. The resort actually has multiple sections where you have a little cove, and each cove a number of rooms with their own individual pools in addition to the main family pool and main adult pool. So you feel like you're in this small little community, especially if you're someone who's traveling with a big family or group of friends. You can actually have an entire cove all to yourself. I love the fact that you could choose to be around people if you wish to, but also if you want to be kind of secluding your own area, you certainly have that to your advantage as well. Most buildings here are basically 2 floors. There are a few that has 3 floors. Many of the lower floor rooms actually has its own plunge pool. And of course, I think you guys might know that I'm not the biggest fan of plunge pools. I just don't find them to be all that practical or useful. pool, but I will say in Four Seasons case, they actually designed it fairly well. It's a bit larger than most plunge pools I've seen. In addition, the plunge pool is directly underneath the balcony or the terrace of the second floor room, which means that it's being covered and shaded, so throughout the day it doesn't get hot. The best accommodations here are obviously the oceanfront rooms and oceanfront suites. As you can imagine, you can directly see out onto the beach and ocean without any obstruction. My suite was actually the 1-bedroom oceanfront beach suite, which is one of the higher categories, a larger suite. I was on the second floor, so I have my private balcony where I can enjoy breakfast and just hang out in the morning having coffee and look out and observe the view, which was super nice. I could see pretty far out. But the advantage of being on the lower floor again is having that plunge pool and direct access to the beach and water. So my neighbors in the suite beneath me could just get up, take a dip, and go directly out onto the beach. So I think that's a really nice perk, and I would probably think for most people the lower floor rooms would be the ones that are more preferred. And if you're on the lower floor, you still have a view of the beach and the ocean, obviously. It's just that when you're on the second floor, you can see way further out. The rooms themselves are quite large. Even the entry-level ocean view rooms are about 680 square feet, 60 square meters. My 1-bedroom suite was about 1,000 square feet, 1,020 square feet. If you do want something larger, they do have a sunrise suite, which I believe is a 1-bedroom suite. It's about 1,600 square feet, and it's tucked away on the corner of the resort, probably like a 180 view of the peninsula. As you can imagine, have morning coffee just sitting there, enjoy the sunrise. So that's an option too. Now moving on to the interior of the rooms and suites. I do love the fact that it's very clean, simple, and chic. There's something about a nice white room with just clean design that you can walk in and you have tons of light because of the floor to ceiling windows and sliding pocket doors. It just feels a bit more relaxing, and I even love the smell of my suite. I think to some people that might feel like a bit of overkill, but also I think I do have some clients who can sympathize with me that certain resorts and hotels have a certain smell to them. Many of them actually have their own signature scent. So when I walk into my suite, I immediately knew I was in a Four Seasons, a scent and atmosphere I was familiar with, so I really enjoy that as well. As I said, you can see that my suite is done very tastefully, at least in my opinion. It's very subjective, obviously. On the surface, it might not seem like a lot is going on. Once you look into the details, you will see that the finishes are done extremely well and high quality. And the chair in my room and other small pieces of furniture all have a bit of a sense of place and local touch to it, but it's not so in your face that you feel like someone just kind of threw up all over the room. Again, very subjective. Some people will find this extremely bland and cookie cutter maybe. I find it to be done very tasteful and suit to my taste. I would say one thing that was maybe slightly odd was that the view is given to the bath and shower versus the bedroom. So in my bedroom, I actually did not have any views of the beach and ocean, but in my bathroom, I could see out into my balcony and the beach and ocean, which is super nice. So I enjoy having a shower there and with a fabulous view. Some people might prefer to have a view from the bedroom so you can wake up to a nice view. So I think that's probably one of the few downsides I have to my room, but everything else I just loved. I love the finishes here. Like I said, I think it's going to age extremely well. Lastly, I do want to show you guys the presidential suite here, which is pretty amazing. It's a 3-bedroom presidential suite located right on the beach with a full-size pool. It's about 3,600 square feet. You can see that the interior here is done extremely tasteful, just like the other rooms, but even more elevated. I love the fact that you don't just have one large pool on the beach, but the master bedroom also has its own plunge pool. The principal of the group can actually just wake up, I guess parents in this case. If you're sick of your children, you can actually just enjoy some alone time in your own room and plunge pool before you have to go out there and deal with family. But joking aside, I think it's a great space. 3,600 square feet is just large enough for everyone to feel comfortable and have their own space, but it's not so vast that you feel like you're distant from other people, which kind of defeats the purpose of a family or group trip with friends, right? I love the built-in seating on the terrace and the dining area, so I think it's pretty amazing that you have this little pocket of space just on the beach, and of course you have your own lounge seats as well with your butler, and they can serve you directly on the beach. So I think it's a pretty special product, and certainly if I go back with 4 or 6 friends, it's an option I would certainly look after and consider, because booking 3 beachfront suites might not be that much cheaper than just booking the presidential suite, especially through a Four Seasons preferred partner like myself. So that's an option that's very appealing to me, and I would suggest anyone who's visiting as a larger group of 6 to maybe like 8, take a look at the presidential suite, see if that's a better option for you guys. Moving on to the amenities and spa and pool here on the resort, it's pretty amazing. Every resort and hotel nowadays has its own gym, of course. I will have to say that Four Seasons Los Cabos absolutely just nailed its I don't really even want to call it a gym because I think that's so underplaying the fact that it's really a sports complex. It has a 2-floor gym area, you have your weights, your machines, you have a room dedicated just for cardio. It has an outdoor lap pool that has, I think, like 3 or 4 lanes overlooking the golf course and hills with a mountain in the distance. So I think it's pretty amazing. Also, they have a full-size basketball court. I'm not aware of another property that's, at least in Cabo, that takes the gym this seriously. Like I said, it's more of a sports complex than a gym. Moving on to the spa, unfortunately, I did not get a treatment because I was actually a bit injured from a previous treatment at a different resort. Story for a different day. Nonetheless, I did take a tour. Aside from the cool designs of the spa, it actually looks like a place you might want to arrive a bit earlier or stay after for an extra hour or two and enjoy the facilities. Typically, I just get my treatment and go back to my room, but Four Seasons Los Cabos actually looks like a fun place to kind of chill out and hang out for a little while post-treatment. All right, let's talk about the pool. As I said earlier, there are actually multiple pools. One is the family pool, which is located, of course, on the beach, and on the other side of it is the adult pool. The family pool basically wraps around the beach restaurant. It has a beach entrance, and then it has other entrances located in multiple spots, so people who are sitting around the pool with in-lounge seats can easily enter. You don't have to walk all the way around. It's a cool design. My favorite thing about the pool is actually the fact that it's warm enough to get in the water, and it's cool enough to stay in the water, a fact that's often overlooked. So often I will find a family pool because typically they're a bit more shallow and the water is so hot by the afternoon that you really can't tolerate staying in there, right? So you would just get up from your lounge seat, jump in there, and it's really no better, if not worse. So I appreciate the fact that the water temperature is just right. It doesn't feel like someone's bath water or someone who just peed in it. And of course, the fact that it's wrapped around a restaurant means that's super convenient for anyone who's hanging out at a family pool or even on the beach to have meals catered to them by the staff. The restaurant itself is actually al fresco, so you can dine there, have a proper meal at a table, or you can just have it by your lounge seats by the pool or on the beach. Super convenient, super laid back, which is something I love about this resort and Four Seasons in general. While it's sophisticated and a really, really nice luxury property, you don't feel any type of pretentiousness, and it's just very functional and convenient. You can just enjoy the meal however you want, wherever you want. There's no like weird dress code or anything like that. The adults only pool just on the other side of the family pool, and basically they are 4 squares. I actually didn't spend much time in there at all. There are cabanas surrounding it, and it's first come, first serve. Let's talk about food. So there are multiple restaurants on site, as you imagine. One is Limon, which I'm maybe saying that incorrectly. Limon is an alfresco dining area. Basically, the concept is that Italian, European alfresco vibe. You're sitting outdoors under these romantic lights and trees, and maybe lemon trees. I guess lemon trees would make sense. The chefs are out doing some barbecuing, fresh seafood, catch of the day, etc., things like that. They have a bar there as well. You can grab a drink pre-dinner and just hang out with your friends and chat, and then just move on over to your table. Casa de Brasa is the family pool restaurant I've discussed earlier. Basically serves pretty normal stuff like tacos, maybe ceviche, and burger sandwiches, lobster rolls, things like that. I thought the food was on par. I wouldn't say it was spectacular, but it's certainly not bad. I think it's just pretty normal for a Four Seasons resort. So I think it's a spot that would just do the trick for lunch for most families and guests. One restaurant I did not get to try out and I was super bummed was called El Presto. I think it's called El Presto. It's this cool little bar area with about maybe 6 or 8 seats, kind of like this omakase vibe. If you're into sushi, they would just serve up fresh ceviche to you, but due to COVID, it was actually closed, so I was a bit bummed about that. If you're visiting at another time, hopefully COVID will be a thing of the past, make sure you try it out because it just looked awesome, and I'm a big fan of ceviche and omakase, so it seemed like this perfect fusion of 2 things I love. And the star of the resort has to be Milos. For my foodie clients, many of them have already been to Milos in New York, etc. For me, I actually have not had the chance to visit until this trip, and I thought it was fabulous. Having a Mediterranean restaurant is just perfect for a beach location. One of my favorite dishes I had at Milos was actually the octopus. And going back to what I touched up on earlier is that Milos, I went there for dinner. I just had on shorts, white sneakers, and a button-down shirt, very similar to this. I love the fact that I saw many families there with their children just in t-shirts and shorts, sitting outdoor, having an alfresco dinner. It was extremely laid back and chill. Again, I just love the fact that it's functional and it's not pretentious at all. Lastly, there's a little shop called Ginger's Cafe. It kind of has this like 50s diner retro vibe to it. It's kind of cool. So you can get there, get some coffee, pastries. Also has an ice cream shop in there, so it's cool for the kids to just kind of go on their own and grab a few items. Moving on to the activities. Given the fact that this beach is swimmable, you can actually take paddleboards out into the water. You can take some other toys out there, and I even saw a trampoline where people would swim out to and jump on there, so it looked really fun. And they have a volleyball court and beach bikes as well. So I think it certainly has more options in terms of beach activities and water activities than most other Cabo resorts, because most of them you can't even go into the water unless you sign a waiver maybe. My favorite activity here is the ATV during sunset. You can do it during sunrise or sunset. I did it during sunset from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. It's a 2-hour excursion, and it was one of the funnest things I've ever done. The ATV guy will basically take you outside the resort, drive to secluded beaches and other hills where you can see another side of the island and peninsula during sunset. It's pretty amazing. I had fun just driving the ATV. So it certainly got my adrenaline going. It was super fun. And normally I'm pretty boring. Like normally I just go to resorts and I love to hang out on the beach and just chill. But this activity, I'm so glad my friends talked me into it, and I just had a blast, and then got back, showered up, and went to Milos. It was just an amazing way to end the day. One of the reasons I love Four Seasons is because it's consistency when it comes to service. Not all Four Seasons have great hard products. There are Four Seasons properties where I do not like the rooms, I do not like the resorts, but even those typically have great service, and that's the same here. Service was impeccable, it was amazing. The team and staff were just super genuine, and they were super warm. It felt like they actually cared about my experience at the resort, and they were happy to help. They always spoke to me with a smile on their face, which made me feel good about my time there and asking them for help, and it didn't feel like a chore at all. One of the things that jumped out to me specifically is the service on the beach. Typically at a beach resort, where I would encounter the most issues is on the beach. At no point in time on the beach did I feel like my beverages were low, or if I didn't have enough ice even for my bottled water. At any point, if I just looked over to the beach staff, someone would catch me looking and then come straight over. They would actually run over, and I had to tell them like, it's okay, like no rush. They were just so eager to assist and make sure that your stay was fantastic. And of course, that's kind of the same throughout the entire resort. Someone was always coming over to ask me if they can adjust my umbrella, which I appreciated, or bring me more water. Half the time, I didn't even finish my water, and they were still ice cold, but they would come by and replace my water bucket with ice, or just brand new bottles of water that are chilled. Couldn't be happier to be in their hands and cared for. Often I think the hard product of a resort or hotel is what draws you to that property, but it's the service that has to deliver once you're on site and makes you feel good about the trip once you are back home. All right, so let's wrap this up. As you can tell, I'm pretty favorable of this property. I really enjoyed my stay, even though it was a bit too quick. I'll just have to go back. That being said, do I think this property is a no-brainer for everyone? No, of course not. I think every property is subjective based on the preference of the person and traveler. Like I said earlier, if you're someone who just wants to be out in the town and see a lot of people, do people watching, things like that, this probably isn't a property for you just yet until the entire area is more built. But if you're someone who appreciates Four Seasons and Amman in terms of their ethos and just their style of service and product, I think this is a perfect spot. I really enjoyed it. When I do go back to Cabo, I think it's between Four Seasons Los Cabos and Las Ventanas. They're apples and oranges, but I love them both. I would do a separate video on Las Ventanas, and of course once Amman opens, I will go check that out as well. But I'm super happy Four Seasons opened up a property here, and actually they're still in the process of building more villas, private residences, which I think are going to be fantastic and phenomenal once they come into the rental pool. Some of the villas have their own private dock for yachts to come on and dock and go straight into your villa. The project itself is just simply amazing. I think it's just on a different level than most resorts in Cabo. As always, if you're going to a Four Seasons property, I think it's a no-brainer for you to make sure that you're booking with a Four Seasons preferred partner advisor like myself, who not only knows the property but have relationships there. Of course, it comes with amenities and perks. Nonetheless, I hope my rant has been helpful to anyone who's looking to check out Cabo, and specifically if you're interested in Four Seasons, I hope this has helped you to either decide to go or not go, but has given you some information that is valuable. So that being said, I will catch you at the next resort and on my next review. Cheers.